My parents forged the deed to my $3.8 million estate and arrived, with movers to throw me out. They had no idea. My lawyer and the police were already inside, waiting for them to make their move. My grandfather left me his entire $3.8 million estate when he passed. Not my parents, me. He knew exactly what my parents were. Greedy, manipulative parasites who saw family only as a bank account. When the will was read, they went absolutely nuclear. My mother screamed in the lawyer's office that I had manipulated a dying man. My father physically lunged at me and threatened to sue me into the ground. Instead of suing, they got creative. And by creative, I mean they decided to commit a string of massive felonies. A week ago, I found a formal notice to vacate taped to my front door. I checked with the county clerk's office and my blood ran cold. My parents had miraculously produced a newly signed deed transferring the property to them. It was allegedly signed and notarized by my grandfather, just 2 days before he slipped into a coma. They were perfectly willing to leave their own son homeless on the street, just to get their hands on a multi-million-dollar property. I panicked and immediately called my estate lawyer, David, but David didn't panic. He just started laughing over the phone. Let them try to evict you, David said, his voice dripping with predatory amusement. Your grandfather put this estate into a completely ironclad, irrevocable trust 5 years ago. He didn't even own the house as an individual when they claim he signed that deed. They just forged a document for a property that legally belongs to a corporate entity. We didn't tip them off. We let them file the fake paperwork. We let them lock in their felony fraud, and then we set the trap. This morning at exactly 8 a.m., a massive moving truck pulled up my long gravel driveway. My parents stepped out of my dad's BMW looking smug and triumphant. My mother was literally holding a clipboard, ready to take inventory of her new wealth. I was sitting calmly on the living room sofa, drinking a cup of black coffee. The front door swung open. My dad marched in, chest puffed out without even knocking. "Time's up, kid," he smirked, tossing a glossy copy of the forged deed onto the coffee table. "Get your trash out of my house. The movers are going to start boxing up whatever you don't carry out yourself." My mother sneered from the doorway, looking at me with pure disgust. "We told you not to mess with us. You stole from us, so we took it back. Now you get absolutely nothing." I didn't flinch. I just took a slow sip of my coffee. "You guys really didn't do your homework, did you?" "Excuse me?" My dad snapped, his face reddening. That's when David walked out of the kitchen, casually adjusting his tie. Right behind him were 2 uniformed police officers and a stone-faced detective from the county fraud division. The color instantly drained from my parents' faces. My mother actually dropped her clipboard. The loud clatter echoed like a gunshot in the silent room. "Mr. and Mrs. Vance," David said smoothly, "the deed you filed with the county is a crude forgery. We know this because Arthur Vance hasn't owned this property since 2021. You didn't just forge a dead man's signature. You committed grand theft, real estate, and perjury." "Wait, no, this is a misunderstanding. We can explain," my dad stammered, aggressively backing toward the front door. The detective stepped forward, blocking their exit. "Save it for the judge. You're both under arrest for felony forgery, wire fraud, and filing false public records." My mother started sobbing hysterically, but it didn't stop the officers from grabbing them both, spinning them around and slapping the cold steel cuffs on their wrists. I walked out to the porch, leaning against the pillar, and watched as my parents were shoved into the back of a police cruiser. The movers they hired just stood there on the lawn, completely stunned. They were ready to throw me out on the street to get this house. Instead, they're getting a 6x8 cell, entirely rent-free.